Alright, today's date is, January the 10th, 2023. My name is Dale Strickland. I work here for the Lagrange Police Department. I'll be conducting an interview, with Lieutenant Christopher Pritchett in reference to a directed internal review that I am conducting in reference to an allegation of improper behavior or inappropriate behavior alleged to have occurred during the supervisor retreat in 2022 that occurred at Manny Mills in Whitesburg, Georgia. The dates of the supervisor retreat were Monday, November the 14th, Tuesday, November the 15th, and Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. All right, Lieutenant Pritchett, the first question is, were you a participant of the 2022 supervisor retreat?
Yes.
Okay, and can you tell me when you went up for the retreat, what you drove, and who you went with, if you went with anybody?
Was it, the first day was the 14th?
It was a Monday, yes sir.
Yep. I drove my personal vehicle.
And you guys, I'm assuming, ate dinner that night?
Yep.
Okay, was there alcohol consumed during that dinner?
Yes.
Okay, and can you, for what you can recollect, who all was consuming alcohol that night?
I think all of us except for Robbie Hall.
Okay, and how much was consumed that night? Would you say some people, I guess my question is, did you notice some people that were intoxicated versus just having a drink with dinner?
Oh yeah, there was, I would say that everybody had, except for again Robbie Hall, he's not a drinker. And there's somebody else, there was a couple other folks there that are not drinkers.
Who all was consuming alcohol that night?
I think all of us except for Robbie Hall.
Okay.
That didn't drink.
Okay.
I think Jeremy Butler, I don't remember him drinking anything. But the end of I sat at the far end, obviously long table. So
who was around you?
Kirby to my left, Lee Wynn to my right. Brian Brown was like across from me. That's really all I remember sitting around me.
Okay.
But I don't remember Brian drinking, but me, Lee, and Kirby, yeah, we were all drinking. Everybody was having a little drink, except for the ones that I've already named that weren't drinking.
Okay.
And nobody got, I would say, intoxicated.
Who all was consuming alcohol that night?
I think all of us except for Robbie Hall.
Okay.
At all. I probably had, I think 3 beers. I think Lee had maybe 2 drinks. Kirby
was there anybody there, based on your observation alone, that you would believe that would not have been safe to drive, or you would not have allowed them to drive?
Oh yeah, Kirby.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Kirby didn't drive. Somebody drove Kirby.
Okay.
And even 3 beers, based on my tolerance, I'm good to drive. But I still was like, why? When I have Robbie Hall who doesn't drink. So Robbie, you drive my truck.
So Robbie was your designated driver?
He was our designated driver.
Your group.
For everybody.
Were there other designated drivers that you're aware of while you were there, or was he just yours that you know?
He was just mine because I remember him being in the car with me. So I don't know about anybody else. I didn't see them.
All right. So tell me a little bit about the demeanor of the table, I guess, overall. Kirby being the one that you're indicating probably was most intoxicated, wouldn't have been safe to drive. Were there, behavior-wise, how was the table overall?
General, just joking, comedy, talking about, just about anything. Wasn't anything specific.
Okay.
Nobody was, flamboyant, obnoxious, loud, fighting. No, none of that. Everybody's just pretty mellow, having a good time.
Okay.
Sharing some funny police stories.
All right. Was there anything that would have drawn significant attention to your group from the rest of the dining area that you're aware of?
Just our size of our group. That'd be about it.
Okay.
There were so many of us.
Okay. So after, I guess my question, let's see, and who paid for the dinner and the alcohol?
Everybody paid for their own thing. Everybody paid for their own meal.
Okay. None of this was funded by the City of LaGrange or the LaGrange Police Department?
No.
Okay. No. And were you on duty, considered to be on duty, or off duty?
No, we were all off duty.
Okay. And when did you consider everybody going off duty that day?
At the end of class. At 5 p.m. when everybody went back to their room, work is done.
Okay. All right. So after you are there at the restaurant, at some point you guys leave as a group. Just tell me where your group that you know was driving with.
So we came back to Banning Mills, pulled up at the very end of the parking lot, let several folks out. Robbie brought me back up to the cabin because it's, I'm not going to say a good bit of ways, but it's up a hill, and I was like, I ain't walking up this damn thing. So he drove me back to my cabin, and he walked back to his room. And then I grabbed my cooler that I already had packed and brought with me. Had a 12-pack of Natural Light beer and a quart of some moonshine that I bought while I was up in Tennessee on vacation.
Okay. Did you guys stop before coming to Banning Mills? Did y'all make a stop, or did y'all come straight back to Banning Mills from the restaurant?
Yeah, we did stop. We did stop at a liquor store.
Okay.
Because somebody wanted. I didn't buy anything. We went there for something. Somebody wanted to purchase something. I don't remember who, but somebody in the truck said, "Hey, can you stop here so we can purchase something?" I don't remember.
Well, at a liquor store, you would assume that would have been an alcoholic beverage.
Yes. We were
Okay.
stopping for somebody to buy some kind of alcoholic beverage, but I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was I don't remember. I don't even want to try to guess at what it was. But
Okay.
we stopped there for somebody to purchase something.
You indicated you did not
I
purchase.
didn't purchase
You had
it.
already had alcohol. Yeah. Okay. So you guys traveled back to Banning Mills, and then, I'm sorry, go ahead from there. Once you got back to your room.
Yeah, get back to the room, grab my cooler, and headed to the hotel, whatever you want to call it, the hotel area that has got all the rooms in it.
Mm-hmm.
We went onto the back deck, beer floating around, everybody just sitting around talking.
Okay. Do you know who brought what alcohol there by chance? What you remember, what you observed?
What I remember bringing the Natural Light and that little quart of moonshine.
Okay.
I remember Captain File he had a cooler, and he had made some homemade muscadine wine.
Okay.
And that's all I remember specific. There was more alcohol there.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say a whole bunch more, but there was more alcohol there. I just don't remember who brought what.
The other alcohol you remember seeing, was it liquor, beer, or both?
Yeah,
Okay.
both.
All right. And
I remember a small bottle of rum.
okay.
I do remember a small bottle. Oh, and Fireball whiskey. A bottle of Fireball whiskey.
Okay.
But
And how was that? Was it like individuals bringing just whatever they chose to drink or share or whatever? Is that what it was, or was it already there?
It's always been kind of you bring something and we share.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
taste this. It's good.
So during that 3 hours or so there on the back deck, did you notice some folks being intoxicated?
Oh yeah, everybody.
Okay. And out of that list, who would you say would you consider to be intoxicated to the point that they would not have been at least safe to drive? Some maybe more stick out in your mind than others.
Well, so fall down. I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge the level of intoxication. I wouldn't say anybody that.
Well, as a professional with your experience with the police department, you kind of understand.
Yes.
You know which ones would have been what you call intoxicated.
None. I wouldn't say any of these folks would be safe to drive.
Okay.
So they were everybody at that point, after leaving the restaurant and getting back here, we were all drinking.
Mm-hmm.
We were all drinking a lot more than we were at the restaurant. So, but we were home per se, so it was like, all right, we're not driving anywhere. We're just gonna hang out and talk and just have a good time. Kind of let everybody let the hair down and do their own thing and just talk about all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, so everybody was intoxicated. I wouldn't say fall down, sloppy, drunk. Until Becky did get to the point that she ended up falling asleep.
Okay.
So she was probably, out of everybody, she was the most intoxicated.
Most
Yeah.
affected by the alcohol consumption.
Yes.
You would say. I know everybody's a little different based on their tolerance, size, of course, all that matters. But
Yep.
Okay. So while you were there, tell me, was it like one big group conversating, or were multiple people, multiple groups? How did that?
Oh yeah, everybody's kind of, it's a gathering area, but it's small enough that there's only maybe 3 tables.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I don't know how many chairs. I don't even want to guess. Maybe 9. I'll say 9 chairs out there. So obviously there's people standing, there's people sitting.
Sure.
We get up and they take my seat. I'll stand for just whatever.
Okay.
And everybody's in this one big area.
Okay. And during that time of drinking, you guys hanging out, talking together, did you observe some behavior that you thought was odd, or out of character, unusual?
I wouldn't call it out of character or odd. I know Becky came into the group. Everybody, all the chairs were taken, and she just walked over to Captain, and she just sat. He just sitting there. I don't even remember what he was drinking, or if he was even drinking at all at this point. It was still actually pretty early, but she just sat right on his knee, and I didn't think nothing of it. And she's just sitting there talking to him.
You didn't think that was odd for her to sit in Captain File's lap? Or
Knowing as long as I've known Rebecca Noles, that was not out of character. It was not
for her.
For her,
No.
yes, that was. I'm sure Captain probably got a little. He was probably taken by surprise for a minute because that's just not something you expect to happen. But again, I've known her for a long time, and that's not out of character.
Okay. All right. So, could you hear what the conversation was, or what was going on with Becky when she was sitting in his lap?
No, I have no idea what they were talking about.
How close were you at that time? Or were you a part of that group or that conversation there?
Well, we weren't. So there weren't like separate groups. Everybody was together, and we were all in a pretty tight area.
Okay.
But I mean, they weren't far from me. I mean, probably from me to the corner. So what? Maybe about 5-6 feet.
Okay.
And there was a chair next to me. And some folks at this point had already gone back to their cabins. Just a couple. There was still a pretty big crowd out there. She came and sat next to me, and she leans her head on my shoulder. And I was like, and I looked at, I think it was Clower standing in front of me. I said, "Hey, is she asleep?" "Yeah." "Damn. Okay. All right. You can help me get her back to her room?" He said, "Yeah." "Okay." He said, "You want to take her now?" I said, "No, I'm not finished with my beer or whatever I was drinking on this." So we just sat there. She just stayed there. I mean, she was out, just passed out, sleeping right on my shoulder. And I was like, all right. So after, I think it was another 10, 15 minutes, and we got up. I kind of, "Hey, Becky," kind of nudged her a little bit so her head's picked up. And she told us what room she was in. "Is it unlocked?" She said yes. I said, "Come on." So Josh and I I took her left arm, Josh took her right arm, and we took her back up to her room, laid her in her bed.
Okay.
Got her phone and her Apple Watch and charged her stuff. And if you need anything, you can hear some water. There's another bottle next to the bed. You want us to turn the TV on? Yes, please. You want us to leave the light on? Yes, please. We're going to lock the back door. We're going to lock the front door. You got your key in here. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. I do this for anybody, especially people I work with.
Okay.
And
All right.
That was it.
So,
At the end of the night, me and Josh left, and I said, "Well, I'm going back to the cabin." He said, "All right, man, me too. I'm going to bed." "All right, we'll see you later."
okay. Going back to the group out there, when Becky was seated in Captain File's or Mike File's lap, did you ever see his hand underneath her clothing on her back or underneath her shirt at any time?
No.
Okay.
Never saw anything like that.
Okay. Did Becky sit in anybody else's lap while she was out there? Did you observe her sitting in anybody else's lap?
No.
Okay. And she didn't sit in your lap. You say she was seated in a chair next to you? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So when you carried Becky back to her room, did you take her pants off while she was up there?
She started this. She took them. She undid them and slid them. And I think Josh and I both grabbed a leg of her pants and pulled them. And she pulled the covers on her.
Okay. All right. So do you know why she was doing that as a part of going to bed, or?
I'm guessing it's part of her routine of going to bed at night, because after she slid those off and she had her comforter and sheets pulled over, she took her sweatshirt. I think it was a sweatshirt. She took that off and threw it there. I was like, all right, just getting ready. She's going to sleep. Out we go.
Okay. All right. When you were downstairs with everybody before that time, because you said you left shortly after that, did you see anybody take any photographs or video of any part of that gathering on the deck?
I didn't notice anybody with their. I mean, folks had their phones out, but it looked like they were texting. I didn't see any video or nothing like this that seemed obvious.
Okay. Has anybody showed you, or have you heard that anybody took photographs or video of that time, or any other time for that matter, there at the supervisor retreat?
I've heard just rumor, that photos and video were taken. but I haven't seen them, and I don't know who. I just heard that there was a video taken, but again, I don't know who, and I never saw any of them.
Okay, so you've never seen it, nobody's ever given you, never showing you, and you don't know who took the photographs through the rumor. There, as a part of that rumor, nobody said such and such took a photograph.
No.
Chris took a photograph, or anybody. Okay.
Never heard a name.
All right. So after you put Becky to sleep, or carried her to her room and secure it, did you guys come back downstairs to the deck, or did you guys leave?
No, we walked. So Josh and I walked back down the stairs, and we said something about, man, Becky sure did have a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually commented to Josh. I said, I thought it made me feel good to know that she felt she was safe enough to come and sit next to me. Mm-hmm. That she'd had enough, and she wasn't drinking any more at this point, and she came and sit next to me. I said, that makes me feel good. Okay. And I said, I appreciate your help, Josh, getting her bag up to her room. He said, hey, man, I'd do that for any one of y'all. I said, I know, I would too.
Okay.
And then it was, all right, well, I'm going back to my cabin. He went back to his cabin.
All right.
See each other in the morning.
During that gathering out there, did you see or hear any conversations that you would have considered to be heated, argumentative, or where,
no,
in that nature?
No, and again, I'm not eavesdropping when I'm out there. We're all sitting there talking, but I didn't hear anybody getting across with anybody, talking about anybody. Nobody seemed heated. Everybody seemed to be in a really good mood, just kind of letting our hair down. What I like to call, we're just solving every problem in the world, but nobody brought a pen and paper. Okay.
Did you observe, and I think I may have asked you this, did you observe anybody during that entire time that was not associated with the police department there?
No. Nobody.
Did anybody come out and complain about the noise or
no.
the people or intoxication level or anything like that during that time?
No.
Did you hear anybody else that was actually a part of the group out there make any complaints or have any concerns about what was going on out there at the time?
No, I mean, historically, and this wasn't uncommon for this particular night either, but at some point somebody's always going to say, hey, y'all getting a little loud. I mean, amongst the group.
Right.
Actually, sometimes it's me. Hey, we got to kind of chill out a little bit, y'all. And Josh is another one. Hey, y'all chill out, getting a little loud out here.
Did you hear anybody that night say that?
Somebody said, but I couldn't tell you. Hell, it may have been me. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. But somebody's always going to remind everybody. Kind of ease it down a little bit.
Okay. All right. So when you left, you went back to your cabin, I'm assuming?
Yep. Got back to the cabin, crawled in bed, turned on TV, and fell asleep.
All right. You didn't come back out of the cabin that night?
Nope.
All right. All right. This concludes this interview. I have that it is still January the 10th, 2023, and it is currently, I know I have a phone here, 2012 or 8:12 p.m.